Hi everyone, welcome to the Q1 2025 update on my emergency fund. I previously was uploading these videos on a weekly basis, I believed in 2024, but then I stopped for 2025 because increasing the emergency fund was not a huge focus for the year. The focus was really more on investing. But as we talk through the numbers here, there has been a shift slash not really a shift in terms of building up the emergency fund. So let's talk about it. The balance on the emergency fund at the end of Q1 2025 is $10,275. For those who have been around for a while, you'll see immediately that this is a large sum compared to where it was before, because for all the newbies, I did deplete my entire emergency fund last year in 2024 to get my portfolio up to over 200,000. I'm referring to my M1 finance dividend portfolio. So I essentially started at zero and had nothing in my emergency fund, a couple $100, and now it's over 10,000. So again, let's get into the details. So at the beginning of 2025, so in January, I set a goal to get the emergency fund up to $5,000. This is why you see here the target amount is 5,000, right? That's all I wanted to do, get it to that amount, and then I'll be done with it. But then life happened. So let's just look through the transactions, and I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. So on January 6th, I put in $13.70 into the emergency fund. But then that same day, I took out $4,000. So if you're wondering why, why did you take out $4,000? So it wasn't for an emergency. I did not experience anything life-threatening or really serious pertaining to myself or my daughter. But I did go ahead and buy really expensive tickets to go see the Lakers and the Knicks play basketball. Yes, I know, ridiculous to use the emergency fund for that, but that is what I did. So I pulled $4,000 from it. And again, I wasn't concerned about the emergency fund. And I was just like, oh, like worst case, I'll just pull from my M1 finance portfolio. It's not a big deal. I don't need a bunch of cash laying around. And then we'll keep talking. So on January 14th, I put in $115. January 14th, later that day, I put in $37. January 22nd, I put in $30. So in the month of January, because I had taken out that $4,000, yes, I was feeling a bit guilty, and I was like, okay, let's just put a little extra here and there, not large amounts, just to make sure that we're not losing sight of the emergency fund and that we're trying to like build it back up. And moving on to the month of February, I put in $50 on February 4th, $1.24 on the 7th. So barely anything in February, right? But I still wanted to maintain that habit of at least putting something, even if it was just $1 towards the emergency fund. Then in the month of March, I received my annual bonus, and this is around the time, and it currently is, the stock market just completely crashed, like completely crashed. Like I'm down, thousands, like I can't even count the amount of thousands I'm down in the stock market right now. And then also to my job became a subject of discussion, whether or not it's going to like change or possibly right be eliminated. So that whole, with the stock market crashing and then the uncertainty in my job, it really was a good reminder for me about how important the emergency fund is to have that cash, because if something did happen and it did have to sell from my portfolio, I would have ended up selling at a loss because the stock market is doing horrible right now. And so having that cash, even if it's just a month or two, it's at least something, is some type of buffer to hold me over instead of having to immediately pull money from my brokerage account, if that makes sense. So it was just, again, just like a good reminder. Like, I understand the concept of emergencies, and it's good to have a solid emergency fund. But I think I got a little too overly confident with the thought process of, oh, I'll just pull from the brokerage account, and just not seeing any value in having cash at all. That it made me realize the value of cash. So because of that, I put in a lot of money in the month of March for my bonus into my emergency fund. So let's go through them. So on March 4th, I put in $48. And then on March 6th, you see I put in $1,700. Then later that day on March 6th, I put in $5. On March 10th, I put in $3,495. Then on March 14th, I put in $2,500. March 17th, I put in another $1,000. March 18th, I put in $100. March 20th, $25. And then March 25th, I put in $150. So some big numbers, right, in the month of March. But again, just wanted to get this emergency fund balance up, especially what was happening in the stock market and the instability of my job. And just so I have some buffer between me and life that's actually in cash and not just invested. So for quarter one 2025, right, so from January 1st to now, end of March, I put in $9,270 into my emergency fund. So very large amount in a very short period of time. And now I feel really good about it. I'm definitely still going to be putting more money into the emergency fund just because of how the stock market is performing. I'm not going to overly aggressively put a ton of money into it, but I'm definitely pulling back in terms of the amount of money I am putting in the stock market. So it might be, instead of putting $4,000 into the stock market, I might put 3,000 in, and I'll put that extra 1,000 to the emergency fund. So that's how I'm looking at it. Or I might put 3,500 into the stock market and $500 into the emergency fund. So this balance will continue to grow throughout the year of 2025. I don't have a set amount for it. Like I said, the original goal was 5,000. Now I'm over 10,000. If I had to guess, I'm thinking it's probably going to end maybe at 15,000, possibly a little over 15,000 by the end of 2025, pending I continue to stay employed. So that is the update, the Q1 update, should I say, on the emergency fund. We have no idea what the future brings, so I'm going to keep on providing quarterly updates, but I'm feeling really good in terms of where it is right now. As they say, you plan and then life laughs at you. So this is like a good buffer for me and my daughter against life. All right, that's all the updates I have for you this quarter, and I'll catch you next quarter. Bye.